Hi guys, looks like everything is cured. Let's take this off. Not really easy to take this off with one hand, so I will need another hand anyway. Well, looks like not too bad. There are a couple of low spots somewhere, so I gotta sand it down, fill with the epoxy mixed with copper seal, and move on to the next layers. I think like how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers must be sufficient to seal this down. So this is layer number 1, and layer number 2, and the next number 3, like that, 4 and 5. I think should be pretty much enough. And I will use a resin with the copper seal to fill the gaps in between those. So yeah, and I put 2 layers of fiberglass around this pipe between those first and second layer. Well, I drilled more holes, and as you can see, the water start draining down. Well, what to say, I took a gallon of IPA and drained all stuff through, and I see some kind of dirty liquid flushing out. So yeah, it will be hot days soon, and I hope that this will drain out and dry it at some point. Well, we'll see. It's hot today, so use the water to cool down epoxy. It's about 20 degrees up in the morning, so I don't know how many layers are in place right now, and I'm waiting for that stuff is get cured. Put those dowels through the holes and wrap it with the baking paper and drain with the alcohol all these surfaces, and waiting until this alcohol evaporate to fill with epoxy. I want to fill the gap very deep of that bowl side down with the thick epoxy mixed with copper seal. I want to make sure this is going drip through, but not really too far. Well, if you can see those white spots, these actually epoxy thickened with the copper seal at peanut butter consistency. So I squished as much possible as I could to these edges, and I left this you see that black lines, so I fill with more liquid epoxy later on. I want to make sure the all holes are just filled in with the epoxy. Well, that's the plan. I have to modify the syringe a little bit to not waste in this resin while I'm filling those narrow spots. So yeah, let's do it. I put some amount of epoxy mixed with copper seal with the ketchup or mayonnaise consistency, and I hope to reach the target and filled up the voids. So I help with the specially educated pusher like that. It's kind of wire pusher, but anyway, it helped a lot to push down that resin. So we'll see. I will go down and check it out. What do we have here? Yeah, the surfaces get pretty much hot, so I put the fan down to cool it down a little bit, and I fill down most of the voids inside. I hope so, but the first hole outside is start showing some signs of resin coming out, so it's a good sign. I hope that I reached the target, and well, I keep pushing the resin until it gets completely cured, and I will probably add a little more, maybe 1 or 2 ounces to make it flat on the top edge anyway, and we'll see. I hope this solves the main problem with this kind of issue. The new bracket was built using some parts from the old one, and I hope, I really hope that those guys drill the holes and right exactly the same position that's supposed to be there. But yeah, we'll see. It looks like it's pretty much the same spot, so we'll see. We'll check it out. By the way, this baking paper, it's really cool stuff. If you put the fiberglass on top or resin, it doesn't stick to it, and it's removed pretty much easy. I would say you can reuse it, but yeah, it doesn't worth it. But Anyway, it's easy to work with compared with the other material. Let's check if there is a gap inside. Yeah, the port side looks okay. The starboard side, yeah, I still feel some kind of void inside. Yeah, there is a lip all around 360, so I guess I need to fill this in with epoxy from outside. Might probably just close one side with this dowel, and we'll fill with epoxy from the other side and make another plug to close from the other side, and then under pressure the resin will fill those voids and everything all around. I hope this will work, and yeah, it should be okay. I will wrap a dowel with the smaller diameter in this baker paper and push inside all the way through. So I made this kind of wrap, and I will push this whole thing inside of the hole. And what happened is that the resin will go inside and will stick only to the dowel and won't stick to this baker paper, and thus this will kind of there is another hole on the starboard side. I plug the port side, and there is a dripping from starboard side. The resin just start dripping from starboard side down to the bilge. It starts smoking, so I put the fan on. No big deal, it's just like too hot over there. If it's too hot, then resin in gelling stage right now, so I pretty sure hope that the hole is filled in. And I pushed there kind of like thicken, kind of maybe minus consistency resin, so it should clog every void inside. Well, the resin is cured, so I need to break those plugs. I sand it down around the bracket installation. It's all fiberglass all around, nothing else. So I can dry feed the bracket right now. Well, like a glove. So I put all 3 bolts, almost get broken all those. Stainless steel with stainless steel without anti-seize, you know what happened, right? Anyway, I have to drill a little bigger holes to fit those bolts, because it's kind of tough. With the mix of fiberglass inside already, and yeah, it looks okay. And also on the port side, I sand it down that I believe it's 1:12 ratio thickness to length of that tapered fiberglass, but I might probably need to make it bigger. I just worry about that little low spot, and I will fill up with the fiberglass anyway. So I started to clean the hull to the gel coat, as I would think, and yeah, it's going well. It's a stencil style, so I made a couple of shapes to cover existing hole. What is it, 6 layers up to the bolts and nuts, and there will be a couple of more layers on top to cover this joint. The stencils to cover the bolts. I will rotate the bolts to make another stencil to port side. Yeah, it's ready. Well, I made a mistake, so I paint my primer onto the anti-fouling, and underneath is gel coat. It's super easy to remove it. Well, I sand it down, I just clean it out to the gel coat. The white stuff is gel coat. Next layer is anti-fouling, initial one I guess from the factory. Next one white is my primer, and the next one is my new anti-fouling. So I did it wrong completely from the beginning. I have to just sand it down all the way to the fiberglass, to the gel coat, and then start over like it's supposed to be. So, well, it is what it is. I washed surface with this 202 solution from Interlux, and if I just touch it, the only thing I left over is just dirt from my fingers. But where's that old anti-fouling? Yeah, Yikes. It just fall off. It doesn't really hold at all. If I paint with the epoxy paint to the gel coat, it will be a completely different story. I cut 1708 fiberglass patches for the rudder bracket, and also this peel ply. This is for the morning. I sanded down the rudder. Yeah, it's a really interesting structure. It just looks like one layer of the fiberglass only from each side, and this is placed on the plywood, looks like, because I can see some exposed pieces of plywood, and I'm going to fill those exposed spots with the epoxy anyway, with the mixed with the copper seal. So yeah, just another task to do. That spot I will grind down and put some resin inside to seal it completely. Port side keel has started to peeling off that dirt I put it on. Yeah, it's really easy to remove it actually. It's like a skin falling off with the easy motions like that. So it's kind of plan for the future, I guess. The new paint doesn't hold for anything, and this stuff is so soft. It's just so easy to peel it off. Well, I have a plan, so just need to follow it. And if you like this video, please hit thumbs up, subscribe, and leave comment down below. Thank you. Bye.